Hi there, my name is Aliyah Selah, and welcome to Astro Insights. Today is a very special day because we are honoring that one and only hero we all share so much love for, Johnny Depp. So his birthday is June 9th, and you can see that in his birth chart, once connected to what's going on in the sky and looking over his life, which he opened up to us, I was able to really do a deep dive into understanding so much of his life through astrology. And if that's interesting to you, we're going to be learning astrology with Johnny's chart, understanding some of the things that you know through watching his court case and have been learning more about his life. You're going to understand how the synchronicities just lined it up. Man, miracles and things broke through so that it would all line up with him having this amazing turnaround. And of course, things don't happen without work. You have a choice. And he could have just reacted and, spun downward or whatever, but he decided he was going to rise up his energy and fight back. And that's why his energy turned around. We have a choice. Astrology is not saying this is you, who you are, and this is what's going to happen to you. It's never meant for that. There's a reason why it went in that direction, and that's because they were burning witches, and then the astrologer was there, and the king was like, burn the astrologer too. And the astrologer said, no, I can tell you what day to wage war, king. You don't want to burn me. And he goes, you're right. Put the astrologer in the castle. And that's when it became a predictive science. But until then, it's just a learned person who is watching the stars and understanding the implications in our lives intuitively. And this is a science that was astronomy and astrology combined. And that's the soul growth astrology that's happening now through humanistic astrology or evolutionary astrology, or I call it Authentic LIfe Astrology. Everybody has different names for the same concept, which is non-predictive, God or source-centered as you understand it, focusing on three things: celestial timing, because there are certain cycles and ebbs and flows that are really good to get aligned with, and relationship alchemy, so that we can understand how to get along. And then just understanding what our path is in life. In your chart, you can see all the lessons that you've come here to learn, and you can compare your chart with someone else and see what you've both come to teach and learn from each other. So it's very, very helpful for all relationships, whether it be in a partnership of some kind in a business, a relationship that's romantic, or raising kids. It's just amazingly revealing if you're aware of subtleties that are part of the Astro Insights that give us so much ability to walk in another's shoes and have our empath grow. So astrology is here to help us grow emotional intelligence. And that's my goal. And that's why I started Psychic Inspiration Academy, where I would like to teach as many people astrology. And if those people want to become astrological readers with Authentic Life Reading Protocol, I would be happy to have it go in that direction and start a network that is a non-predictive, spirit-centered, new thought, focusing on follow-up that I have with all these authentic life tools so that people can really get centered with who they are and what they have to share in this lifetime and how to get along with everyone along the way. So that's my goal. So that's why I'm honoring Johnny and his amazingly synchronistic U.S. court case. What an incredible sight for all of us to do together. I think it really was powerful. So before we go any further, it is Johnny's birthday on the 9th of June, and I want to sing him happy birthday. Come on and sing along. Sing happy birthday to Johnny with me, and then we'll go on to learn some astrology from Johnny's chart. All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Johnny. Happy birthday to you and many more. All right. Love ya. Thank you for joining in on the fun here, because it is a lot of fun here learning astrology and paying attention to synchronicity. I have a feeling that the more we understand our synchronicities, the better we're able to be guiding our intuition to help us to make the most authentic choices in life. And that's what astrology is here to help us with. And there's all kinds of things happening in the sky that are transits. And then you have your natal chart, and the transits affect your natal chart. And when you're doing comparison of two people, they act like a transit on your natal chart. So understanding that there's as above, so below, that we're going to affect each other with all these relationships that we have that are, astrological aspects and stuff like that, don't get combined in all the concepts that can be very hard to unpack. Right now, I'm going to teach you astrology from a visceral place so that you understand it, because you're an intuitive person who understands, just kind of archetypal understanding intuitively and viscerally. And that's how we're going to go here. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll do what I can to help with any question you have coming up. So the first thing I want to talk about is the verdict. Woo! June 1st. That's right. We got yes on all three of his focuses that he was bringing up in his court case. So way, way cool. Okay, so the sky celebrated back with having 2 days later 5 planets that were here lined up: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, lined up in the sky on the 3rd and the 4th, 30 minutes before sunrise, which is a way cool thing to happen. Whenever that happens, it's like a synchronicity of community energy coming together. When, these celestial bodies come together, it's a moment for us to also come together. So I believe that that really helped us to respond with a huge response for Johnny in his victory. So we have Mercury, which is a communications and travel focus, and it did go direct on the 3rd of June. So not only did these 5 planets line up, but Mercury went direct, and then it's going into Gemini on the 13th of June, which is next to the full moon on the 14th, which is a super full moon. And that means that it's really close to the horizon. So it looks really big, and it actually has a strawberry kind of coloring, we're saying. So there's going to be some more supermoons too coming up, and I'll talk about that later. So here we've got Venus, which is receiving energy. It's the yin energy, and Venus conjunct Uranus, which is sudden changes, in Taurus, which is earthy, and it's there with Mercury until Mercury, as I said, goes into Gemini on the 13th. So we have this energy of the earth energy there. And Venus is also going into Gemini on the 24th after the solstice on the 21st. So we have a lot of energy going into Gemini with the sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, and then Venus in Gemini. A lot of Gemini energy. So we'll really be focusing on communications. And there's a lot of disclosure happening if you're aware of what's going on with that. So I think that that's something that's part of what's going on a global level. So we'll keep praying that things open up and the censorship is kind of on the way out. That's what we're going to be putting out as far as a community rising up for human rights and civil rights. And that's what we have Johnny to thank for, because I think that so many people watched his case and were like, oh my gosh, that's me too. And you know what? It isn't me too. It's we too. It's men and women together fighting abuse of all kinds. And it is we too. So I'm starting the We Too movement. And that's hashtag we too. If you're interested in leaving your thoughts on that, that would be awesome. So then we have Mars, which is in giving energy, and that it's the yang energy. And Mars and Chiron, which is the wounded healer, is together with Jupiter, which is expanding and learning, in Aries, which is innovation. But also Jupiter can be it can be expansion, but it can be overindulgence too. So that's why all these planets have the shadow and they have the light of each of the archetypes, because we have the choice as to what we're going to do with that energy. And it's just helpful if you're aware of what the energy changes are, then you're going to be able to flow more with the celestial timing. And that's going to open up more opportunities for you. So the other one here is Saturn. Now, what's interesting is Saturn is also went retrograde on June 4th. So June 3rd, Mercury, which is here at the bottom, that went direct. And Saturn at the top went retrograde, a day between the 3rd and the 4th. That's interesting because they were all lined up and then they went their opposite ways. Very interesting to me. And that if you understand that Mercury is communication, moving forward, but Saturn is about responsibility and karma, and it's in Aquarius. So that's our community energy. It's going to be retrograde until October 27th. So that means that we're going to be going back over what is the meaning of community? What does it mean to each of us? And this bond that we're, connecting more through the internet as we do combine our need for human and civil rights, as we bind our efforts together, we find that we are so much stronger when we do work together. And that's kind of like the bacon on us not being able to do that literally and figuratively. So all we have to do is get along. And that's why I'm so interested in astrology helping us to heal our community wound. And you're asking, what's a community wound? Well, I believe that we're tribal, that we were meant to, like all the indigenous people that live in tribes, we were meant to live like that. And only capitalism, came up, and commerce went way ahead of actual human needs. And, old folks were put in old folks' homes, and, kids were left and never came back home. And, it just, the family unit disintegrated on so many levels because so much pressure was put on them to be a whole tribe in a family unit, which is just very hard to do. We are tribal people. We need a lot of people around us. We need a whole community. And many of us do have communities, strong community connections. And that's what I'm very focused on, community building skills. I've taught it in art and interpersonal communications, I called it co-creative communications and co-creative arts and communications. And I found that the students rose up, and I saw organic peer tutoring and peer counseling because they were friends, and that's what friends do. So I know that there are ways for us to have that shift, but we need some elders to stand up and say, hey, this is what's important here, and have some guidance with that. So that's what I'm thinking. This is what Johnny did. He really did his second Saturn return, where he gave his power to us because he took his power back. And that's why it's so important that we're all together, seeing that what made him stand out was that he was the type of person that really had everybody feeling appreciated. He was respectful and humble and generous, and everybody liked him. I mean, they tried to find dirt on him with a spy thing, but didn't work, because everybody just said wonderful things about him, and actually said some negative things about Amber to the person that she hired. So what does that mean? It means that, karma's for real, and it does come back to you. So thank you, Johnny. We have till October 27th to really go over, what does community mean for us? And how are we going to build stronger community? Like growing food together or finding ways to barter with each other. I really think that that's what is coming up for all of us. And the more that we really embrace that, the more that we're going to find that we are a powerful, powerful group when we're all connected. And we are all connected, but when we act that way. So thank you for understanding that this is something that really does shape our world. And here, this is Johnny's chart, and I have separated the 10 planets into their elements. And what I love about this is that it gives us the ability to see how viscerally we understand the elements. That we can have no astrological background at all and still kind of understand, what does fire feel like, and what does air feel like, and earth feel like, and water. Like if somebody didn't have any water in their chart, would that be somebody who is having a hard time being empathetic? Or if somebody has way too much water in their chart, is that somebody that's going to be kind of moody? So this does not make you that way, but it does give you an understanding of your inclination, which you always have the choice to rise up and, be more connected to your mindfulness so that you can respond rather than react, and offer good connections with those you connect with in your world as you walk. So that's what we're looking at here. And we have fire, just one sign in fire, and that is his Jupiter in Aries. And Jupiter in Aries, it's in Sag too, so that would be very he has strong opinions at times, and that's when it comes out. It comes out with his Jupiter in Aries. It's fire that comes out sometimes, and believe me, it's only when he's pushed, because he would much rather keep it to himself. So only will he actually speak up when he's pushed like that to do so. So otherwise he doesn't have very much fire. He does have his Leo rising, and your rising is how you what you offer to the world, what you feel good about offering to the world. So he feels good about his performing. That's what he wants to offer to the world. That's his Leo. So he does have that. That's other fire. But it isn't a planet, but it's still another thing he has to offer with some more fire energy that he can draw upon. So then he has 6 planets in Earth. Hello. That's a lot of Earth. And I'll tell you something. 4 planets is a stellium. 6 is a massive amount, but he has something very special right here. Okay. So this is what I call the quantum triad. He has Mars and then Uranus and Pluto all in Virgo. Now, what's interesting about this is that Mars is the giving energy, which you want to give to the world. Pluto is really your deep-rooted, really deepest part of yourself. And then Uranus is sudden changes. And I feel that this is the energy that he has for his talent as a character actor, to just get into that character and then respond and just have it quantum, leap into this whole congruent person. And that's why we believe him in each character, because he has that ability to just transform the deepest part of himself into this catapulting energy that he gives. So I just want to say that that's quite a lot of talent that I feel that thrusts him into that ability to do that. Now, what we have here is we have that, and we have Venus and Mercury in Taurus. Now, he already has his sun in Gemini, which is a communications focus. Geminis love to communicate. They love jokes. They love to laugh and be playful. And they can switch things or try many different things, so they're kind of have that ability as an actor to have your Leo rising and your sun in Gemini is almost an actor's dream. And then he has his moon in Capricorn, which gives him something really deep to go inside for all his moods that he needs for his characters. It can be kind of moody as a person, but as an actor, that is a wonderful lineup. That you have that Gemini sun, all these different characters and stuff like that. And then you got the Leo rising that wants to be the performer and is comfortable in that role. You've got this quantum triad with these two outer planets connecting to, Mars, just shooting him out there with Uranus and Pluto energy. And then he's got his moon in Capricorn, which is, keeps him real, because it's very grounded, and all that earth energy, 6 planets in earth, that's a lot of earth. Very grounded for somebody who's, got that Gemini energy, and you think, well, wow, they're so light and funny and everything, but all this earth underneath it. So he has also the 2 air planets there, which is Saturn in Aquarius, which we're going to talk a lot about, because he had the most miraculous thing happen. That is his court case. Okay, I'm going there right now. His court case happened on April 11th. Okay, excuse me, his court case was April 12th, but his Saturn return was April 11th, the day before. Let me just say that again. His second Saturn return was a day before the court case in Virginia started. I mean, that's intense. You can't plan this stuff. It's really, really amazingly synchronistic, right? But there's more. So you have Saturn as karma, responsibility, honor, and integrity. And then, like what you give out comes back to you, right? It's about a 28-year, because you feel it if you're sensitive. Even at 27, you might feel it coming up. Like, nah, 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 nah. You got to be responsible. You can't blame other people. It's all about you. You got to come down to you and make yourself a better person. You got to work on yourself. Like that would be the Saturn, chant, nah, 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 as it comes to your Saturn return. However, if you are doing that work and being very studious to your inner integrity and honor, it's your Saturn return, you're going to have some real gifts that come. So we're going to talk about that more when I go over his timeline, but just know that your first Saturn return is the Fool's Journey, owning up to who you are and taking responsibility for developing into your best self. That's the first one. It's like in the tarot deck the first time around. The second time around, it's the Sage's Journey. Time to give back, leave a legacy, be a teacher. And Uranus is opposite Neptune in his chart here for his Saturn return. So that's right over here. Oh dear, let me go back here. Right over here, we have Neptune in Scorpio opposite Uranus in Taurus. Okay, and all during his court case, Taurus, Venus and Mercury were in Taurus. So they were in his natal sign, and that was really good, because it means that everybody in the sky was really tuning into his natural way of being honest and open and really listening and paying attention. So it's very, very powerful stuff. And then this is kind of interesting too, because Pluto is in Capricorn. So we have that his moon here. Now, Pluto finally got off of his moon, but it's been there through this whole relationship with Amber. So it's pretty intense, because Pluto on your moon is very, very heavy. So his Pluto is at 13 degrees 48 seconds, and his Pluto on his Capricorn first happened January 19th, 20th, 2015. Okay? He married Amber 2 weeks later. Interesting, right? Then it goes in, but then it goes retrograde, right? So it goes retrograde, and it goes back to 13 degrees 48 seconds, July 25th, 2015. Now, I'm sure there's things in their life that it lines up with. I don't know everything that went on with them. But then again, remember the whole Thanksgiving thing that we heard about? Okay, well, then it goes back again when it's going direct again. And that's November 23rd, 2015. So what you have is this incredibly intense, excruciatingly painful healing of his mother energy. That's what this was. And it's because he was able to face it and handle it well. And I believe that because he did that, he was rewarded. And that's why we have him now, you know, just soaring, and we'll see what all the things that he gets involved in now. Now, the thing that's interesting about that Saturn is that he did have the Saturn return the day before the court case started on April 11th. But as I said, then it goes, it went retrograde, right, on June 4th. So because it went retrograde, it's going to go back over, and it's the closest it's going to get. It's not going to get to 13 degrees, but it's going to get to 8 degrees, 43 seconds. That's the closest that it's going to get. And that's on July 28th. And so I'm wondering what's going to happen with Johnny around the end of July. We're going to see. Maybe there'll be some, rewards for everything that he's done, possibly some films that will be penned by then, and other commitments, perhaps some love interests we're going to see. The beauty of it is that he is, having some really wonderful things happen. Now, Chiron is going to go on to his Jupiter here. And this is a very big thing that I'm going to be talking about in another video, because this is the relationship that he had with Kate Moss. Kate Moss had Chiron right on his Jupiter in Aries. She also has her sun in Capricorn connecting to his moon in Capricorn, and they both have Leo rising. Very interesting. There are two charts, and whether they get together or not, I think that it'd be very good for him to hang out with her and spend some time with somebody who really cares about him and he can trust on a deep level and help to heal through some of the stuff he's been through. So that's what I'm suggesting as I do the Johnny Depp, Kate Moss relationship alchemy chart comparison. And I'm going to be doing that soon, so look out for that one. Okay, so here we also have some, other things that are happening here as this July 28th thing is happening, where Saturn comes back up again, gets close. It isn't quite there, but it is going to get close. And then we're going to see that there's some other stuff happening because of this Chiron. But there's not too many other things happening except for perhaps this here, which is Venus is on his moon, is opposite his moon. And so that, I think, is going to be a love interest. Now, we don't know if it's Kate Moss or it's somebody else, but I think that we're going to find that Johnny, he's gonna find some love in his life. He is a lover, and I will show you why in a second. I have one more thing here I want to show you, which is the Jupiter cycle. So we've been talking about the Saturn cycle, which is approximately 30 years, when you're 29, 30, or when you're, 59, 60. So that's the first aspect that we wanted to talk about, is the Saturn. The other is the Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, and we have Johnny's 5th Jupiter return coming up March 7th, 2023. Okay, so that's something to look forward to, because Jupiter returns are usually a lot of good things. If you've been investing in good things, it's a good time to have that come back. And there's also some other cycles here that we're going to be talking about here, but this is the 12-year cycle. This first Jupiter return, he started playing the guitar at 12. His second one, that's right when he was on Jump Street. I think at 22 he was in Jump Street, or at least he had the fame. He was really starting to get noticed at 24. That was really big. And then 36, we're going to continue on here when I'm looking at all of his lineup and stuff. But what I want to mainly talk about here is at 42, that's his Uranus opposition. And if you remember, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe They asked this big computer, what was the secret to the universe? And the answer was 42. And you ask, why 42? Well, the reason it's 42 is because that's our midlife crisis. So it doesn't mean your life falls apart, but it means if you are not living an authentic life to you, then, and you don't see it and shift your life is going to shift for you to shift your life. Because that's where we realize that we really have to make an impact here in this world. That's why we're here. And so if a Uranus cycle is an 84-year-old cycle, then 42 is the midpoint. And that's when we really start owning up to who we are. And I just want to say that 48 is our fourth Jupiter return. And that's when he got together with Amber in his fourth Jupiter return. So I'm not saying that Jupiter is good or bad. It can be a wonderful blessing and learning and growth, or it can be overindulgence. And in this case, I think it was a little of both, you know? And so we're going to go on here. Let me continue with this wonderful understanding that I've kind of put together here. So what I have is I began to realize that once I saw all the women that he'd been with over the years, that he is a lover. And you see, you know, he continues to love. I mean, he loves to love. He got married at 20. Who does that, you know? He's a lover. He wanted a relationship. He didn't want to go meet a bunch of other people. He wanted a relationship. He wanted a family. He wanted a community, and he invested in that. And that's what's so beautiful about him. So from 20 to 23, he was with his first wife. And then I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Sherilyn Fenn, from 85 to 87, he was engaged to her. So this is a lover. I mean, he doesn't have to get engaged, but he gets engaged to these women, very serious relationships for him. And that's age 23 to 25. So that was, Jump Street was like 22. So right there, that's his second Jupiter return. Okay, so then he gets together with Jennifer Grey in 1989, and he gets engaged again. They're about together for 9 months, and that's at 27. And then when they break up, it's because probably he meets Winona and everything changes. They have this amazing bond, and again, he's engaged, and him and Winona have this connection. It's very deep. And it's during his Saturn return, age 27 to 30. So I think that what we're looking at here is that he has this ability to work very hard at his, Saturn return. And, there he is opening the Viper at 30. And he did open it with another star in his Jump Street soul. And so he had another place to focus on his music, which was always very important to him. So he did get together with Winona, and they broke up, and there was a lot of things happening in 93. He opened the Viper in August, and then River Phoenix, a good friend of his, died in October in front of the Viper. So I don't know what was going on, but it's some not good stuff. And it could be that he just understood that Winona wouldn't be good for her, and he might have broken up with her for her best interest because of the stuff that was happening around what was going on in his life at that time. I'm not exactly sure what everything is. I'm just speculating here, but in a way, he always loved Winona, and I think that the only reason I could see him breaking up with her is just to help her not get involved with something that's not good for her. We'll see. I don't know if that will ever come out. And then, of course, there's Ellen Barkin, who barked a little bit at the trial, and she was before and after Kate. He saw her, and probably they had a connection somewhat, but it just wasn't, you know, it wasn't fully there for him. So, and good thing for him not settling, and moving on, because then he meets Kate Moss. Okay, Kate Moss was in 1994 to 98. Again, he's engaged. And this is when he's 31 to 34. So a lot of tumultuous things happened. We know that there was a place where the hotel room got tore up. We don't know exactly what happened, but Kate Moss was never hurt from Johnny, although he did tear up the room. But perhaps he found out what happened to River. We don't really know what was going on with him during that time. So I would just say that one day we might find out, and nonetheless, he did not hurt Kate. He just hurt the stuff, And if you're gonna be violent on things, not people, So that's good that he always understood the difference. Good for you, Johnny. That's what we need to understand. Sometimes you just gotta go beat some pillows or something, There's nothing wrong with that, Just make sure that we all understand the line. Bless your heart, Johnny, for showing and stepping up, showing us that eloquence. So then he meets Vanessa. And he's never the same. He's totally smitten, falls right in love, and a year later, they have their baby. So that is, when he's 31 to 47. Now, what's interesting there is that he's just come out of a Saturn return, and boom, within a year, he has a kid and a relationship. He's making a home. It's really beautiful for him and his Saturn, Aquarius, that just really always wanted a community and a home. So he has that. And then what happens is his Uranus opposition in 2005. That's when 42 happens, and he had some kind of a life crisis thing. And I know that Vanessa probably just wanted to start working again, because she had kind of put that off to work with the kids and be in America when she wanted to be in France. And so, it's stuff that happens in a relationship. It can be tough, there's lots of parts to that puzzle and stuff. But nonetheless, unfortunately, for some reason, it was not working out for them. And they were together 14 years. And again, I want to say that there's something really true about the 7-year thing. 7 years, relationships, I've seen them. 7 years, it goes through a test. Because like our body is all different new cells. Everything's new every 7 years. It completely regenerates. So we're a new person. So do we still fit together? And here we are looking at his situation. Twice they had the 7-year itch. And the second time, Amber was there to connect with Johnny. And in 2011, they got engaged, and that's at Johnny's 4th Jupiter return. So then they get married in 2015. And there is some interesting things about Johnny's moon in Capricorn. Well, let's look at this. Now, his moon in Capricorn is at 13 degrees 48. Okay, so Pluto on his moon in Capricorn first happened, and this is intense, because it's a very long cycle, and you might not ever have it come over any of your personal planets, but on his moon, intense. Moon is our emotions, and Pluto is the deepest stuff we have to look at on his moon. And then he has Pluto just opening that up. That was 2015. And 2 weeks later, he marries Amber. Interesting, huh? Well, then it goes retrograde April 16th, 2015. And then it's on his moon again, November 23rd, 2015. And I'm not sure if that was the Thanksgiving we heard about. But anyways, it goes direct on September 2016, on the 26th. And then we continue on. We find all that's gone down that we've heard about. And then Johnny's mother dies May 20th, 2016. And Amber files for divorce May 23rd, 2016. It's like, are you kidding me? 3 days after his mother dies? Really? Well, but that's not enough. Then she's got to do the TRO against Johnny on May 27th, 2016, which, by the way, was Lily Rose's birthday, and also his opening of Alice Through the Looking Glass. So she does this TRO while he goes to Europe to play with his band. So he isn't even a threat. And she does that. So that's intense, right? Well, then we find out that his divorce becomes final with Amber on January 13th, 2017, and it is a Friday the 13th, he said. And what's interesting is we start to see that this node thing is pretty important. Let me go back and show you. Now, nodes are where the ellipse touches right here, right? You have your north node, which is what you've come to learn, and south node is what you've come to teach. Okay, and the port of fortune, as I talked about before, that's the intersection of our top 3 placements in a birth chart, which is sun, moon, and rising. And this is like the north node, south node. A lot of people say past life stuff is in south node. So now let's go back here, and we see that in his chart, hold on, there we go. In his chart, he has his north node and his south node here in the sky. So that's a south node and north node for everyone. Right there where his Neptune and Uranus is. It's happening there. But then we look at his own that he was born with, and the south node is right near his moon in Capricorn. Okay. So that's going to be a past life thing. Like he knows how to use his emotions for that Capricorn energy to really come through. So I think that that's something that's an important thing to be interested in somewhat here. And then this is a chart of their divorce, which happened on January 13, 2007. And his decision to take his, to take back his life and fight for his life took him 6 years to the frickin' day. That's right. Because they were doing closing arguments on May 17, 2022. Okay, so that's when Amber did the TRO against Johnny on May 27th, again, Lily Rose's birthday. So what I'm saying is that this amazing thing here, which I'm calling the quantum triad here, it's opposite its port of fortune. You see? It's opposite here. Boom. It's opposite all these other things, which is transiting Neptune, Mars, Venus, Chiron, and South Node. We're all up against his quantum triad. Okay, and right there he's having a Chiron return, a little bit past it, but still, there's his port of fortune right there. So they're all writing on it. That was when the divorce was final. Okay, so now this is the closing arguments on 2022. Again, Lily Rose's birthday, and also the anniversary of the TRO that she did on 2016. So what do we have this time? Instead of opposing his quantum triad has some wonderful connections here. And all of these are, transiting Pluto and Uranus and Mars here. They're all square his sun. And you're like, well, that's not necessarily good, to have that. Look at Saturn here is also squaring his sun. You're not saying it's really good, but what's happening is it's squaring, see? It's squaring his moon and Venus, his quantum triad there. So that's happening. And then he's also got Mercury is returned on his and this is during his whole case. During his whole case, he had, for a while there, it was Jupiter and Venus and Mercury, his three planets in Taurus, on his Mercury and Venus in Taurus. And then he also had Uranus there too. So that's changes and stuff suddenly. So we're seeing this amazing thing here with this south node in the sky is there just passing his Neptune. Okay, and the north node there with Uranus. So this is like, the illusions and also the visions that we have and his past life connection to that. Like he may have even done this before where he was, decrowned and then won his crown back. I'm not sure if that's something he resonates with, past life stuff or not. I'm not going to go there unless somebody is interested in that. But as far as that's what people traditionally say south nodes have some information for, whereas the north node is what we've come to teach. So that's what we're doing here. And it's Uranus energy and how to be eloquent. I believe that that's, standing up and how to be eloquent about it is what he had to teach us with his eloquence and giving it out with dignity and being as kind-hearted as he could in a very difficult situation. So I'm just saying that I'm calling this extortion divorce final transiting because we all know that there was a bit of extortion that was happening there. But the natal Neptune in Scorpio opposing the transiting Uranus, which is what I said here, Uranus and Neptune. So that was one thing. And then the other is that Mars and Venus and Chiron, they're all there together. And so, there's some challenges happening with Chiron on his Jupiter in Aries. And again, I spoke about Kate Moss and how she has her Chiron on his Jupiter. And that's why I think that they have something to really help each other with right now as I see that. And I'm going to be doing a whole special on them and their charts and comparing their charts. And what I've done is I've done the new moon in Gemini on the 30th of May. And I did the full moon in June 14th, which is coming up soon. And then I'm also going to do one for the solstice, which is moon conjunct Jupiter. It's when Sun enters Cancer. And then a few days later, Venus is also going into Gemini. So then we are going to see the Cancer new moon, June 28th. And that's when Neptune goes retrograde. It's time to review visions and moon square Jupiter. It's time to manifestation, thrusting into what it is we need to do and start at the new moon. Each time we have a chance to regroup and do that. And then in Capricorn, we have the full moon, July 13th. And remember, he had July 28th, but he's going to have his 5th Jupiter return. So that's going to be a time for him to get some recognition, some good things happening, I'm sure, Johnny. And I'm going to continue focusing on relationship alchemy with couple relationships, with kids, with communities, with groups, because right now rapid expansion with Jupiter is happening with this Uranian reevaluation that's serving Saturn in Aquarius for a regenerative focus for our garden planet. That's what's kind of happening from a much higher view. Now, I just want to say that I do have a happy birthday to Johnny that I did that was a much shorter one on the civil rights and human rights that he's given to us as a gift. So look for that. And also, I did the full moon one, which is renewing your love with astrology. Again, I'm focusing a lot on relationship alchemy and how we can get along. And then I have, like I said, this one here where we have Johnny Depp and Kate Moss, and the relationship alchemy that I'm going to be talking about, the idea of returning to an old flame and how powerful that can be at a time when you feel challenged, where you are coming home to somebody who really is there for you. And her sun is in Capricorn, his moon is in Capricorn. He just had Pluto over his moon in Capricorn. He really would do a good thing by having someone there that he could really confide in and know that he is safe and that they're not going to turn on him. And so I feel that Kate Moss, even just as a good friend, is going to be a very, very good thing for him. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Look out for that. I'll be doing it very soon for another happy birthday video to Johnny, and how incredibly wonderful what he did for us. You know, he really did do an incredible job. And because he was honest, he had integrity-filled flow that you don't always see in celebrities. And I just want to say thank you, Johnny, for standing up for all of us so that we can birth the We Too movement. So that's hashtag We Too. And if you're interested in a Transparenting Tarot, 3-card mini reading, it's free, and it's at transparenting.net/tarot. There's a link down below, and if you're interested, leave your email address and I'll send you back the I Ching for the reading, and a copy of the reading will go to you. And if you're also interested in some Astro Insights, put your birthday, time, and place, and I also will personalize it with some Astro Insights. Blessings to you, and thank you for taking the time to be here. And I pray that you learned some astrology today so that we can help everyone to get along, because that's why we're here. Blessings, Johnny. Thank you. And thank you for all of you being here. Peace.